Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we need to get back to Batman Arkham City here. I wanted to mention, like,
All air units report
Ra's al
in.
Ghul, who would have to be thrown into a Lazarus pit right now to be resurrected, since he stabbed himself in the stomach. Um, he creates this weird situation with the Lazarus pit concept. Like, pretty much anytime it is used in the DC universe, it works in some way. It either brings back somebody to full life or back to life as some kind of crazy um, version of themselves. Or maybe there have been some instances, I don't even really know, where it has brought people back more as kind of like zombies, zombie like creatures. Uh, so it seems to work on everyone, which then begs the question as to why so many people seem to keep throwing Ra's al Ghul into the pit and resurrecting him when he's dead, when you could easily just have Talia say, "I'm in charge of the League of Assassins now. Ra's al Ghul stays dead. We'll put him in a coffin and bury him deep in the ground." Because there is always this constant talk about Batman replacing Ra's al Ghul instead of just saying Talia could replace Ra's al Ghul, which really goes to show that Ra's al Ghul is frankly incredibly sexist. And once again, well,
Cease
first five
attack and
minutes of the
return to
game,
base
and we're
immediately.
talking about
Repeat, return to
how the
base
DC
immediately.
universe is sexist. Anyways, we need to figure out some way to get to the theater, and we're in a timed mission where we can't go slow, even. So, like, you've got the theater right there, and unless
Well, this is
I'm
just
supposed to
rude, Batman.
sneak my
I plan on
way
all this
through the back
entertainment at the
door,
movie theater, and you can't even be bothered turning up.
I believe the movie that they were going to watch was Zorro. And see, here's your pay your respects thing, but we had already done that, I think. Maybe we hadn't. Notice how the music kicks in. So I have no idea if there's some way to
You're
sneak
leaving
into this
ladies waiting,
area.
Batman.
It doesn't seem like there is. Like, there's never really been indoor areas, so
It's Batman!
I'll see you soon. Bye.
let's see, can we open the door and get in? No.
Get up, bats! Hey, you ain't looking so
Sniper
good.
thugs are long-range night vision, allowing them to see you across large distance, keep track of their distance using laser beams, and stay out of sight. So it seems like the entire mission is this.
All air units report in. Cease attack and return to base immediately. Repeat, return to base immediately.
Yeah, unless there was another idea. It seems to me what we're supposed to do is, let's see, unless we
This is
could
the
throw
big
this.
opening night, Batman. What's keeping you? Get your cute little ass to the movie theater now.
Okay.
I'll see you soon. Bye!
Like, there's snipers all over the place, though. And it's not a good system by any way it means. Like, because the angles and the camera shots are.
Where are you, Batman?
Oh, Bats, if you only knew what I have planned, you'd just die.
Like, it almost seems like you're supposed to fail in this sequence. Do I have any ability? Follow
All air
the
units
tracker
report in. Cease attack and
to
return
save
to base
Talia.
immediately. Repeat, return to base immediately.
So maybe you're supposed to be on the ground. But then you're not really going to be able to be on the ground after that distance. That is just planting the pathway that way.
Well, this is just rude, Batman. I've laid on all this entertainment at the movie theater, and you can't even be bothered turning up.
Okay. So there's a sniper on that roof. Or there's a sniper way over in a different direction. Like, I can't disconnect or disarm
Where are you, Batman?
the ones that need to be disarmed. Yeah, the only thing I could think is maybe you're supposed to just stealth through this section here. See, that is probably Talia and Joker. So we're not even inside the building.
Hello, Batman. You can hear me, right? It's just you don't seem to be coming to the movie theater, and I'd hate for you to read the spoilers on the internet again.
Suppose that's supposed to be a joke.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Like, I still can't take these guys out. So,
Your leading lady's waiting, Batman.
come on. Just let me sneak in through the door. No, the door's locked.
Aren't you supposed to be up on your feet and trying to stop me?
So maybe I'm supposed to just do a glide attack? Sure feels like the game should have told me that if that was the move. Alright, let's just grab and we'll shoot
All air units report in.
as high
Cease attack
as
and return to base
possible.
immediately. Repeat, return to base immediately.
See you soon. Bye.
Alright, so that didn't work.
out, Bats. Hey, you ain't looking so good.
Yeah, you just have so many snipers that doesn't work either. See, it almost kind of doesn't even matter that Talia al Ghul is threatened because
All air units report in. Cease attack and return to base immediately. Repeat,
Can
return to base immediately.
can I grapnel this helicopter? Nope. It seems to me the answer to that is no. And like, if you were to take this and accelerate it as far as possible, that's too far away even.
Where are you, Batman? See you soon. Bye. Hello, Batman. You can't hear me, right? It's
Wow.
just, you don't...
Oh, Bats, if you only knew what I have planned, you'd just die.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like, I don't think I'm just being thick here mentally. Like,
All air units
it would be
report
very
in.
weird
Cease
to
attack and
leave the
return to
entire
base
area
immediately.
completely and
Repeat, return to
go to
base
Wonder
immediately.
City or something like that. Everything seems to want to point you in this generic direction.
Your leading ladies wait. See you soon. Bye.
Okay. Let's take a moment here and see if we are still being pointed towards the main objective, like, of the theater. Yes, he ran into the theater.
Well, this is just rude, Batman. I've laid on all this entertainment at the movie theater, and you can't even be bothered turning up. Where are you, Batman?
See,
Aren't you supposed to be up on your feet and trying to stop me?
is it possibly a case where you're supposed to just circle around the other way? Boy, does it feel like the game should be telling me something more. I don't think it's just a case that
All air units report
the,
in. Cease
these
attack and return to
that
base
one
immediately.
movement
Repeat,
of that one
return to base
helicopter
immediately.
means I'm supposed to be going in this general direction. It's honestly a little unbelievable that you would... Like, there isn't really a lot of room.
Hello, Batman. You can hear me, right? It's just, you don't seem to be coming to the movie theater, and I'd hate for you to read the spoilers on the internet again. I'll see you soon. Bye!
They instantly target you and know where you are. And see, like, that whole building is destroyed, so I wonder if we are in some kind of in-game sequence.
Your leading lady's waiting, Batman.
Yeah, I don't see any other bad guys. Oh, what was that sound effect?
Talia is in danger. I need to find her first.
Why are you taking so long, Batman? Oh, hold on. I get it. You want me to off this annoying woman, right? I mean...
Get up, Bats! Hey, you ain't looking so good.
It just doesn't make sense that you're supposed to sneak behind all these guys and potentially ledge drop them or something. Maybe that is what they're looking for. It's just
All air units
a
report in.
ledge
Cease attack and return to base
eliminations,
immediately. Repeat, return to base
stealth
immediately.
eliminations of some sort. No, nothing loud, nothing that actually that I don't see how you do that though.
Your leading lady's waiting, Batman.
The bat's here.
I'll see you soon. Bye!
Stealth takedown doesn't work either.
Bats, if
They-
you
they
only
are-
knew what I have
I wonder if this
planned,
might be a frame rate
you'd
issue,
just
too.
die.
Like, they seem to just immediately lock in on your position no matter what. Maybe we could get a sonic batarang to send them off in the wrong direction.
All air units report in. Cease attack and return to base immediately. Repeat, return to base immediately.
I don't really feel like there's even a great scenario where we could get that back reverse batarang to work. Alright, so can we with the sonic batarang
Where are
find
you,
somebody
Batman?
who will be our sucker?
Where pocket. It's right here, next to the gaffer tape and the pliers.
Maybe it's a case that only a couple of these.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Clearly, though, there should be some other system, an other way into this whole area. Sewer entrance or door.
Well, this is just rude, Batman. I've laid on all this entertainment at the movie theater, and you can't even be bothered turning up.
Well, I think at this point, are shooting to stealth these other guys
Hello, Batman.
out of the way.
You can't hear me, right? It's just, you don't seem to be coming to the movie theater, and I'd hate for you to read the spoilers on the internet again.
Come on, throw a pellet and then fly out of the way. Alright, I'm just gonna pause.
Aren't you supposed to be up on your feet and trying to stop me?
Let's see. Go to Google. Type in Google. Let's see. Not Batman. Arkham City Theater Joker. See if we can figure out through a walkthrough. Hmm. 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 Yeah, I'm just being quiet right now while I'm trying to read this. It's showing me a pattern of characters I should, in the order I should take them out. Man, and I pretty much need to be able to save scum at this rate, but whatever. Okay, well, I will, I guess, keep that map nearby. So, seemingly there is no trick to it. It is literally just a case of you need to wander around in a very awkward pattern. Probably.
Return to base immediately.
And this once again gets to that idea of if they had instead given you a like scrapbook, a schematic. Like if Oracle had, say, given you a map of this area and the layout of the people, then this would have made a lot more sense.
Why are you... I'll see you soon. Bye!
Alright. Now there is a tiger thing.
Where are you, Batman? Where are you, Batman?
So now the next one it wants me to take it, those two first, then the furthest one third, then it wants me to get the fourth one that is. So there's one I think here, and then it wants me to get this one here, then it wants me to skip one and go over this way, then get that one, leaving the person that's about here last. But all that being said,
Ticket right here in my pocket. It's right here, next to the gaffer tape and the pliers.
still are challenge to say the least. Alright. See if we can do a ledge takedown there. And then
Hello, Batman. You can hear me, right? It's just you don't seem to be coming to the movie theater, and I'd hate for you to read the spoilers on the internet again.
okay.
This is the big opening night, Batman. What's keeping you? Get your cute little ass to the movie theater now.
We have did I do that right? Yeah, I think we mostly have that right. Like, this guy is our next victim.
Your leading lady's waiting, Batman.
Okay.
Well, this is just rude, Batman. I've laid on all this entertainment at the movie theater, and you can't even be bothered turning up.
And it seems like it's just a lot of ledge takedowns that you have to do.
This is the big opening night, Batman. What's keeping you? Get your cute little ass to the movie theater now.
Okay. So that got everybody eliminated except for the two that are right in front of the door. And then I didn't read any more instructions after that. So So there's really no trick to that. So it really would just be a matter of how much life do you have left.
I get it. You want me to off this annoying woman, right? I mean, she does go on a bit with all that I am the great blah blah mystical mumbo jumbo.
Let's hit
I'll
it.
tell you what. Where are you, Batman? I got your premiere ticket right here in my pocket. It's right here, next to the gaffer tape and the pliers.
Come on, knockout smash. Oops. So that's just awful. And now the door is unlocked magically. Yeah, that was a bad experience. Was that worse than fighting the Titan character?
Hurry up and take your seat, Batman. The show's about to
I don't-
begin.
Let's just talk about this.
It wasn't quite as bad, but it was pretty bad. We needed more help, and we
You want
needed
to talk
some
to
suggestions at least.
Batman. Give me the cure.
But you've already got the cure. Talia, no!
So there goes the fake Joker.
Problem solved.
You didn't need to.
Why? You would never do it. You left me no choice.
There's always a choice.
I had to save you. Harley Quinn stole it for him. I took it back.
So she stole the cure. He didn't even search her.
Surprise!
Mr. J, you look perfect.
Ring, ring. So how do you keep a secret from the world's greatest detective? Well, do you know? You stick it right in front of him, right under his long, pointy nose, and wait.
Joker wants you to think he's sick. Then wham! Gotcha.
You fell for the old fake Joker gang, Batman.
Talia!
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, beloved. I didn't know.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Encore! More! Bravo!
Of course, this also just could be Batman going crazy.
Not always. Well, sometimes. Confusing, isn't it? I know I'd want to know just what the hell is going on if I were you.
And see, the problem is you had already told the, like, after this point, the Three Jokers story had already been has been written, so these ideas have been better implemented and published.
Over my jaw.
So now it would be more of a case of
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's Clayface.
Night only, standing in for yours truly. I'm doing a damn fine job of it. I give you Clayface.
You weren't even supposed to be in here, Carmen. Why sign up with Joker?
The role of a lifetime!
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that Clayface
Last
would be a
chance.
boss fight in
The final act
in a
just
theater. That's even his movie.
doozy.
Let's do this!
Okay. Alright, so we need to apparently freeze him. Which I don't know if that really means he has a whole bunch of life, or if that simply is just a case of like, I don't know if we're gonna have to do this multiple times or what. This is better than the Solomon Grundy fight. So you can dodge these by just pressing Y, which is interesting because I would more expect to have to just tap the A button. And some of them you definitely do have to dodge, and you can see he's getting bluer and bluer. I could totally see not spending anywhere as much of your budget making an open world full of collectibles and instead having a lot more of these kinds of characters that you fight in unique sequences. Honestly, I feel like that is closer to what the Lego Batman game did.
supposed to be killing Batman, remember? That's cheating!
So now we're supposed to
What
use
the
the
hell are you
sword?
doing, Bat? What are you doing?
So second phase fight. I don't know if I'm supposed to be hitting him though, or if there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. We really don't have a lot of life left to potentially take on these kinds of encounters. Just try and find some distance. Maybe you don't actually even want to find distance. There's all these like broken chairs on the ground, or legs of chairs.
It was
Yep.
the performance of a lifetime.
Lure Clayface into the explosive charges set in the four corners of the room for maximum damage. Okay. Didn't even know there was 4 charges. Alright. It does seem to me like they have let you... Alright, let's see. Liable to detonate, I guess, if you let him roll into that. Okay. So either we freeze him with a full health now, which probably isn't too hard to do, or we get him to roll into the explosives. And it's funny, you kind of just jump. Alright, see. So that does do a huge amount of damage. Big difference there. Enough so I can just really throw this, unless there's just another phase that we have to deal with.
You're supposed to be killing Batman, remember?
Now we grab the sword again, and I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, but I guess we're just chopping him up into tiny little pieces.
You're making me late for my spa treatment. I mean, it's not like you've got a girl to save anymore, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Too soon? Would a change of scenery help ease the pain?
So there's a whole bunch of explosions in the cutscene, sending you down, what, back to Wonder City in the sewers? Yeah, I'm not expecting too much. You assume that just the League of Assassins would alright, this is more of a standard fight, the little guys. And I didn't get a full health refill or anything. So we're gonna have a lot of these Clayface smaller characters, which I don't think that has ever canonically been the case in the story, is that Clayface can control separate himself and control multiple versions of himself. But whatever. Titan also was kind of a made-up thing, so... We're trying to get to him faster, and that's not working greatly. You know, this... Like, I'm potentially just gonna die here because, like, his attack is too slow. So you jump in there with barely one life. I don't know if the game didn't just let me win there. Jumping into Clayface's body to stab him from the inside. I'm not pressing any buttons right now, by the way. And then gets the cure. Which if Batman injects himself with the cure, which he needs to do, and takes it all, or drinks it all, then he kills the Joker.
Get out of my way, Bats! I've got a date with immortality!
So apparently that would knock Clayface into Lazarus Pit. Batman pretty much, if he doesn't want to kill the Joker, has to give the cure to the Joker.
The cure! What are you waiting for? Come on! I killed your girlfriend, poisoned Gotham in hell. It's not even breakfast. But so what? We all know you'll save me.
Every decision you've ever made ends with death and misery.
This is the problem, though,
People
with
die.
the story is if he does just kill
You'll just
the Joker,
break out and do it again.
Think of it as
that
a
breaks
running
the last bit of what would establish Batman as a character. And Batman has turned very dark as a bad guy more than a good guy compared to like the 1940s, 1960s version of
You wanna
Batman.
know something funny? Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you.
That actually is.
It's kind of funny because I think he is going to straight up die here. And since one of the 4 games in this series, which is not made by the main creators, was a prequel, the 3rd game centers around the Joker being dead. Which, considering how at initial release the 3rd Batman Arkham game was so bad, it's one of the worst games ever released as far as a big AAA game. It probably would have been better for them to simply end the series here and have the Joker die and that just be a 2-game experience. So I guess Harley Quinn was tied up by Talia al Ghul, and Catwoman is just showing up as kind of nothing. And then the police
All units coordinate.
and Gordon shows up in the last 5 minutes. And this is him carrying it,
Happened in there?
kind of like someone carrying Jesus after he was crucified.
What happened?
Batman doesn't even say anything. That should have been a longer cutscene. That's odd. That's odd that that's the end of the game. And that will be very odd if that means we can't run into the game and try and get more collectibles, but also it's kind of odd that you would want to go back into the game at this point and get collectibles, because as far as storyline wise, we've escaped Arkham City. The police are, I assume, going to mop up whatever remaining bad guys from Blackgate and Arkham that are in Arkham City. It seems like a vast majority of them did get killed. Political prisoners also seem like they mostly got killed. So it doesn't really establish a great setup for bad guys in the third game. Notice the crocodile, Killer Croc or whatever, did not show up. The Scarecrow did not show up. There was a lot less talk of other characters that might show up. No Mothman, no Man-Bat, nothing crazy like that. Lead environmental artist Will Smith there. Bad at his job, in my opinion. Like, the environment of the overworld looks pretty dull and generic. Although that's not fair, because it could be that almost everybody in these credits were actually very good at their job, and it simply was a case of an incredibly shrinking budget, which also might explain the third game. But I mean, what can you say when you're a Warner Brother published company working tightly and closely with Warner Brothers to do a Warner Brothers biggest game that they're going to be able to offer, which is Batman? Like, Warner Brothers doesn't really have anything bigger as far as movies or media or characters to use. If they're not willing to put out the money to make a good game, then you kind of just have to blame everybody around. I can excuse some jankiness.
Call received 3 hours ago.
But
Only you can make this world seem right. Only you
that's creepy, but that should have started playing about 5 minutes earlier. We didn't need the long, like the long quietness.
You and you alone can thrill me like you do, and fill my heart with love.
It feels like what they're experimenting with, the idea that the Joker would leave a whole bunch of voice messages throughout the third game. I don't think it's just a budget thing, though. I think it took them a lot longer to develop these games than it should have, and it may be an engine thing, and that would explain a different company coming in and making a prequel. Arguably, very few people being listed here in the credits, which I highly suspect this is a case of more people worked on this game than is being listed, and they have decided not to credit certain people because they left the game during the project. Like NetherRealm Studios, for instance, is the Mortal Kombat company. So if they got additional engine programmers using something that both runs Mortal Kombat at the time and this game, that's pretty crazy. Certainly would explain why there is a free-flowing beat 'em up mechanic in the first place in this game. But yeah, I can't help but think that a lot of this falls on Rocksteady using a bad engine and maybe a little bit of less of a budget. But it really just feels like they fell really far behind. And yeah, you definitely have a problem here where I just can't really care about this story. Maybe if I had played this game a couple of weeks after playing Arkham Asylum, I might be slightly more interested in the story, but you get a fairly satisfactory ending to Arkham Asylum by itself. In a lot of ways, I imagine the recommendation you can easily make is just play the first Arkham Asylum, understand that it was an interesting experiment and it succeeded where many other Batman games mostly flopped, and then don't bother to play any of the other Arkham series games because they go in the wrong direction and they stop becoming an indie experiment where you like grade it on the scale of an indie movie, and they become a AAA summer blockbuster style game that is then graded on a very different scale and fails horribly. But yeah, this is really slow credits. Really slow. Can we speed this up? I mean, we can hit B to go back. The only thing I could think also is we might just have a time rewind mechanic, but you'd have to do a time rewind mechanic to get you back to the overworld in such a way that you could still do the augmented reality stuff and you could still do everything except for the storyline stuff. But yeah, I don't even know if there is a need to go back to the tower. Yeah, it definitely feels like, assuming this game gives you some post-game open world abilities to collect things, yeah, it's not really giving you a super tall tower unless we're going into some kind of Arkham City that is going to be slightly rebuilt and different. So while these credits are scrolling, I'm going to try Arkham City 3 Switch Riddle. And see how multi-switch Riddler puzzles. Okay, so apparently the multi-switch riddle puzzles, as they're being described, could have been achieved a long time ago, and it's simply a matter of don't touch the ground. Which, that's weird. So the ones on the wall, you're supposed to glide to, and then the ones not on, the ones on the ground, you're supposed to find other ways to get to those points without touching the ground. Which, like the Gotham City Police Department one, now obviously that's a line rider riddle to get. What this doesn't solve, though, is some of the other trophies. Like, we really don't have a way to throw 3 batarangs at once. Now the credits have gotten really long. And this really is a great example of where they could have put 2 columns of credits or sped this up. Where we're now just looking at sales teams member being listed, and when you see that level of credits, that makes me think everybody or most people have been credited. I don't know one way or another specifically for this game, but I do know that there definitely have been some video game companies that will remove your name from the credits if you work on a game for 8-10 years but aren't there the day it launches. I know that there have been many cases in many instances of art where people have been miscredited or not credited out of incompetence or spite, which arguably that is one of the few things I think that the actors unions like the Screen Actors Guild and such get right, is that they demand everybody be credited if they do a certain amount of work, and of course paid. Which, yeah, most people that work on video games do get paid, but there are the occasional times where games have gone into early alpha betas of I don't even know how you would say that, where they have fans play a game while it's in beta state to do the quality assurance testing for them for free. It's just way too much credits. At this point, they're basically telling me to just hit the B button. And it's not like the credits are going in circles. So, what I have to think here is Clayface was supposed to be a surprise twist, which is part of the bigger twist of there being two Jokers. So you couldn't really have some Clayface bad guys running around in the open world. You could have had more Tiger characters on the street, trying to act as policing force and such, instead of just being in the helicopters. That would have given you a new character to use. Yeah, it once again gets back to the ridiculousness that there was a nurse and a female doctor, and then Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and Catwoman. And in this area that seemed to have thousands, if not tens of thousands of people potentially in it, there was only 3 ladies. Which that would have been fine if this was Arkham City was a male penal colony, which is basically what it is, and then they had turned, I don't know, maybe Arkham Island into the female penal colony, or made a different part of the city for all the female thugs out there. I guess that would work, but then that creates a dangerous scenario where it would almost be required that at some point you run to the other female penal colony and try and take them out, and then you're just beating up on 100% women, and that feels awkward after about 10 minutes. Yep, and now they're crediting and just saying thanks to DC Entertainment. And it's a shame because I don't have anything really insightful to say here. Like, sure, the character redesigns in this game and Arkham Asylum previously, with Harley Quinn getting a new design and all of them getting more realistic designs, was a risk, but not a huge risk, because it could easily be waved away as not being canon. Like Arkham Asylum is not canon in any Batman series other than the Arkham mini series of comics that they made to promote the game. But there really isn't anything super bold other than killing the Joker, which they kind of even did that later in DC Comics, where they implied the Joker was dead for quite a while, with his face being cut off. Yeah, and as much of a jerk as Batman is in this game, DC and Batman just constantly gets more and more edgy, so so that it's not even that extreme. And what's really crazy, as we're still looking at this, it's like 20 minutes of credits. The next game that they want to release to kind of be a continuation of this Arkham series is a game where they want 4-player co-op playing as Batgirl. I guess no longer Oracle because she's moving around. So she's been healed from being paralyzed, which that did happen in the comics, so can't really complain too much about that. And then 1 or 2 Robins, like Nightwing and Robin, one of the Robins, and maybe an even 3rd Robin. There's like 5 different Robins in the comic. But definitely no Batman is what they're saying. That nobody is going to be actually playing as Batman, which you would create a problem of having a 4-player co-op game and then all the people arguing about who gets to be Batman. That being said, I don't know if 4-player co-op in the game that I've seen here as far as Arkham City makes any sense. I don't know if any of it makes any sense. One of the things that really ruined the next game in the series was that you were driving one of the Batmobiles, kind of the worst looking, most modern Batmobile that's more of a tank than anything. And there are entire sequences where you do that, which is odd because Lego Batman 2 had sequences like that where you're driving the Batmobile and that was fine. But it definitely highlights that for the 3rd game they spent a lot of time trying to program car mechanics in an engine that really doesn't even handle the mechanics it already has. Yeah, it definitely would be a weird decision. I probably would pull the trigger and still buy the 3rd game in the Arkham series. I think I don't own it at this point. Maybe I do. But it definitely would be a weird decision to spend a lot of money getting a Game of the Year version of the 3rd game in the Arkham series. Even knowing that some of that has been patched and some of that has been fixed, and maybe some of it was just straight up de novo DRM, which seems to often cause major problems. I'm definitely not expecting much because this game ran visually terribly throughout most of it with graphics pop in, and as far as actual controlling, it was fine, but not that much. This is funny. It was published by Traveler Tales TT Games. Publishing? I thought TT Games only published the Lego games and made them. Yeah, that it would make more sense though, certainly, to have one publisher owned by Warner Brothers in general. There's just so many companies being mentioned here, which definitely makes it feel like there was a lot of outsourcing happening. Just double check to make sure there's not a button to speed up this. You basically deserve an achievement at this point for how long these credits are. They're doing like double line spacing even. It's just like, come on, do 2 columns, speed up the scroll a little bit. This is way too much. I know they wanted it to feel very impactful that the Joker's dead. You lost me on that well before that point, because there's the speed tree. Were there any trees in this game at all? Apparently they use speed tree for a very small amount of time to make very few trees. New Game Plus mode. Take the story mode again, but this time armed with every gadget and upgrade you've already collected. However, you're going to need them, as this is the ultimate challenge with no counter icons, tough new enemy configuration, and faster, better armed enemies right from the start. New Game Plus is a separate mode accessed from the main menu and does not affect your progress in the original game. XP, upgrades, gadgets, and Riddler trophies are shared between both modes. We've unlocked alternate Batman outfits. Any downloaded alternate Batman outfits can now be worn in the main story mode and New Game Plus mode. Choose your alternate outfit after continuing the game from the main menu. So you have to go through the entire main game, which was super long. And this says Joker the Immortal. That is super
Time to get
long.
my things and quit this damn town for good. Okay, well. Catwoman trophies. I imagine this again is DLC. So let's see. There are 17 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I see 13 Catwoman trophies. Some of which I'm not sure how we really are going to get. Inside building. Okay. So this was Clayface. As far as how they redid Clayface. Which shows there's one more character. Plenty of these characters. Still. We didn't get enough upgrades really to get everything we would want. There's barely enough XP to get maybe everything for Batman, and then I assume the Catwoman stuff was just added as DLC. So when I got this upgrade and this upgrade, that was at the expense of the one upgrade I missed here. And I had to play the game fairly thoroughly to get to that point. Yeah. So there's more game to play, certainly. It kind of sucks that you couldn't have played the game with the outfits. No, it really sucks that you couldn't have played the game with the outfits as you desired. I don't know if Catwoman really can run around and succeed well as far as getting any breakable objects or anything like that. That's about the only thing she could do. So I don't really want to put her in a lot of fights. Just see if we wanted to do the pounce attack. X to pounce on target from a higher ground. Okay. So I very possibly am going to just try to load into the main game and not do a New Game Plus at all to get all the collectibles, because I don't know if it really puts me in a better position or a nicer position to get collectibles if I'm having to fight more enemies and they're even more difficult. It seems to me like there was 0 credits or achievements for beating the game on normal, which, okay. We got achievements for everything else, but that's fine. Yeah. I'm not particularly satisfied, but then this Game of the Year edition does something very weird, which you don't see even with most Game of the Year editions, where it says, it makes you sit through credits and then it says, oh, actually there's a whole bunch of other game modes. Also, I suppose we should just risk it and exit at this point. And let's just see what we've unlocked in total. You have Riddler's Revenge, which is custom campaign and standard challenge maps. where apparently there's 213 Batman outfits. Nope. Or, so you can play as the standard Batman before suit's torn up. You can play as a cartoony Batman, which that's maybe a little too cartoony. You can play as the more roughed up Batman, maybe from the first game. Maybe this is the guy from the first game. A slightly different Batman. This one's Dark Knight Returns. This one's just called Batman. This one's animated Batman, Dark Knight Returns, Year 1 Batman. Earth 1 Batman looks way better. Batman Beyond Batman, which is not actually Bruce Wayne. 1970s Batman's too colorful. Batman Incorporated Batman's not terrible. And Sinestro Corps Batman. Or you can play as Cleavage Catwoman or animated Catwoman, which honestly I think animated Catwoman is more intriguing. But I definitely see the goggles idea and the less skin tight cleavage, and like it's like she's wearing a bodysuit out of stretchy fabric. I could see the more belts and the zipper idea if it was just a little bit more zippered up. And then there's a long Halloween Catwoman, which seems to really not be that different from the animated Catwoman as far as the bodysuit, and the only real difference is the colors in the head. And you could also play as Robin, which I guess at this point you could have maybe played as Robin at any point or after playing the game, and then you can play as Nightwing. And then this once again highlights that where you could have had a 4-player co-op game, but you have the problem of nobody really wanting to play as Robin or Nightwing or probably even Catwoman. Actually, I think I have to go select a Batman. Let's see. So under the challenge, there are 93 challenge maps? Seriously? Or is it 93 Riddler points? I think much like Arkham Asylum, I very well may just not want to try and do any of these challenges. Seems like there's maybe some that would be interesting, like Wayne Manor Hall. If that's a place we just can't see in the main game, that might be slightly interesting to try. But if it's just going to be set in a location that we've already seen, which I imagine most of these are, that's probably not that interesting. And then these campaign maps seem to be collections of challenges. So do these 3 challenges, and then that's a different way of presenting the same idea. And honestly, it feels like this would have been DLC. And then apparently you could make some custom maps, or there are just custom maps. I don't know if you can really make them or not. So total wise, as far as the original story, it is just adding up your entire progress, but it seems like it's also including new story plus mode, so you might not really be in a good situation to even try and get 100% in one playthrough. Maybe it's not, though. Maybe it is just highlighting the fact that we haven't done all the campaign medals and ranked medals in Riddler's Revenge. and all this downloadable content. Let me check something here. If we chose Catwoman and we choose Robin now, these all look like the same challenges. Doesn't seem like they change based on who you pick. Let's see, story synopsis, he pretty much, I think we already watched. Character-wise, we've unlocked a ridiculous amount of characters. 3D models. But here's the problem. They all look like garbage. And I think I will definitely exit out of the game and try and reload it. So we can possibly fix that. But I could definitely talk about the fashion and the character designs of a lot of these characters and how they're mediocre to bad when you don't have anything that is particularly outstanding that I recall. And then there's plenty of other ones. The Black Mask in particular, like I keep talking about Black Mask and that must have just been added in some DLC because he is not mentioned at all in the story. Man, like you would think it would reset and that the visual pop-in would not be this bad. And sure, there's still plenty of people to, like, I'm pretty much just clicking on things to mark them as seen. There's plenty of things still to collect. They did nothing with Poison Ivy, and she basically looks completely naked with this low texture model, and she basically is completely naked. They did nothing with her as a character. I suspect maybe we'll fight Poison Ivy as Catwoman. And then you start to get to really small collections of people that probably should have played a bigger role. If the political prisoners, if the police and doctors had played a bigger role. Yeah, they're calling this a kidnapped doctor, but I think it specifically said on her shirt, nurse. Is she covering up the part on her shirt that said nurse? It just looks awful though. Like, we're gonna have to jump back into this in the next episode just to compare. Vicky Vale played really no role in the game, so I don't see why you'd even mention her and Jack Ryan, who also didn't play any real role, or Quincy Sharp, who didn't play any role. Like, a lot of people here that could have been very specific characters that Batman needed to save from just random acts of violence a few times, 2 or 3 times even. They didn't do much with the idea of more lieutenants like the Abramov twins, where you would have kind of expected to see more than just 2 of those in the fight. But I guess it solves some problems. This is probably the point where this is all DLC, and that's why it was already unlocked. Let's see. As far as visuals, I still don't think you can do any change inside the game. I think you have to exit the entire game to reach that. And here's New Game Plus. So I guess that was always there, it was just locked. And then there's a Harley Quinn's Revenge section, and then there's credits again. Interesting. And the concept art will load in probably because it's a different depiction. So clearly the concept art was trying to heavily focus more on Catwoman, where she really did not play a big enough role in the game to justify that. And clearly we have more concept art we would have to unlock through finding more collectibles. I really would prefer to just get concept art and unlockables for just for playing the game before even beating the game. I don't see a real need to lock that stuff behind wasting your time in many cases. They have a League of Assassins Ninja concept arts, and boy did they not go with any of these designs. Particularly that middle design is once again just showing a lot of skin. The one on the left also showing a lot of skin. It's funny, it's saving every time I look at one of these pictures, just to remember that I've already marked them off. The whole Mad Hatter section was way too short. Tiger as a character, not a particularly like a good character as far as the Tiger Police. Like they seem to be brainwashed by Hugo Strange, and that's it. Where it would have made some sense for there to be at least one diehard leader of the Tiger forces that would make a lot of calls and be very militaristic and the stereotypical military general you see in movies. Even the concept arts here though, like look at the color palette here. Let's make everything smoggy, dark brown and black. Like, let's put a little bit of orange and no other color. Like, clearly there needed to be a different thought. Like, even in these concept arts, like if I was the game director, I would say, I want more color here. I need a better palette than that. We can have some darks sections, but the entire game should not be dark. This is something I rail about in my live streams all the time, is that a significant portion of games that are released on Steam, particularly horror games, suffer from what I call dark screenshot syndrome, where it's no matter what screenshot they pick at any point in the game, half of the screen is just in darkness, or usually it's complete blackness. And I'll say at least these concept arts look better than that. I don't even know what this concept art is supposed to be depicting on the right there. Like on the left, it just seems like furnaces. That probably would have been a smarter idea if the roads started to crumble and it revealed entire like floors of the buildings, buildings being built on top of buildings. But that wouldn't really work. That would be crazy if you could just dig down in your basement and then there's a whole nother building. But had that happened in the overworld instead of it being flooded, that would have been more interesting. Here you have one screenshot with some blues and whites. Yeah. And here you have some red, but that red is missing in the actual game. And then, yeah, here's another great concept art where it's like, this should be rejected. At least the colorist. If the person drawing isn't the one coloring it. Maybe it's the colorist's fault at that point, but that's more of a comic book thing than a video game thing where you have separate colorists versus artist, or penciler or sketcher. But yeah, this is terrible. And even in the final version of the game, they flanked this building with a lot of Two-Face posters to put some more color into it. Yeah, this would have been way more atmospheric if it looked like that. Of course, focusing in on that organ would have been kind of a waste because that organ was not really used. Okay, so I guess what I want to do is we'll try some of the Riddler's Revenge stuff, but I think we'll probably skip it next time. Then I think we'll continue the story and finish the Catwoman stuff. And then I think we'll try the Harley Quinn's Revenge if we really cannot get to any of the other locations. And yeah, that's the big question here, is can we continue the story and play as Batman to potentially get all the Riddler trophies we missed, or are we doomed to forever have to start all over again? And at that point I don't know if it's really worth it, particularly if you're not going to get 100% done without doing the Riddler's challenges anyways, which I don't think I really want to do. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.